Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Logic Medico. Today's interesting topic is development of rectum and anal canal. If you're new to my channel, kindly consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to press the thumbs up button in the end. So coming to the topic, development of rectum and anal canal. It is the last part of the GIT or the gastrointestinal tract. Initially, the embryo is in the form of a disc shape. This is just a cut section of the disc. It's called the embryonic disc. So, embryonic disc is cut. Okay, it has got two ends, the head end and the tail end. Ventral to that, there is a sac called as yolk sac. Okay, so this cavity is a yolk sac. So, at the 4th week of intrauterine life, there will be 4 folds for the embryo: the head fold, the tail fold, and the 2 lateral folds. So what happens, this yolk sac will be drawn into the embryo. So because of this, that part of the yolk sac within the head fold is now called as foregut. That part of the yolk sac within the tail fold is called as hindgut. And that part of the yolk sac within the 2 lateral folds is called as midgut. So this is the fate of the yolk sac. So this development of the rectum anal canal starts from hindgut. Okay. So in this hindgut, what happens? The upper end remains tubular while the lower end gets dilated, and there will be one diverticulum, allantoic diverticulum, in the junction between the two. The upper end give rise to this tubular portion, give rise to the distal portion of the transverse colon, that is the lateral 1/3 of transverse colon, the entire descending colon, sigmoid colon. Okay, but what happens to this dilated portion of the hindgut? The dilated portion of the hindgut is now called as endodermal cloaca. This area, this dilated portion is now called as endodermal cloaca. So, that endodermal cloaca, what happens subsequently? There is a formation of a septa which divides that endodermal cloaca into 2 parts. The septa name is urorectal septum. There will be 3 walls, 2 from either side and 1 valve from above. So this urorectal septum separates the endodermal cloaca into 2 systems, the urogenital sinus anteriorly and the primitive rectum posteriorly. At the same time, you can see a connection between the two. It's called the cloacal duct. Once the septa completes, it will come and touch this area. Kindly note, the ectoderm, which is there over here, the ectoderm, blue color stuff, is touching the endoderm, red color stuff. So this area is called as cloacal membrane. You can clearly see that this area is called as cloacal membrane. So what happens to this cloacal membrane, which is there just below the endodermal cloaca? You can see below the urogenital sinus, it will be called as urogenital membrane. So it connects the urinary tract and the genital tract to the exterior once the membrane ruptures. Therefore, there is no mesoderm over there. So what happens to this lowermost portion of the primitive rectum? It will become anal canal, right? So this will become the anal membrane. That part of the cloacal membrane which is overlying the primitive rectum will be called as anal membrane. So later rupture of the anal membrane connects the anal canal to the exterior. Subsequently, the cloacal duct will be completely separated. If it doesn't separate, then there will be fistula, abnormal connection between one tubular structure and another. So rectovesical fistula connecting the rectum and the bladder. Rectourethral fistula connecting the rectum and the urethra. If this cloacal duct does not disappear, because this urorectal septum has to grow down like this. So at the junction between the two, that is the urogenital membrane, the anal membrane, there will be one triangular pyramidal shaped body. It's called perineal body. It is also called obstetrician's perineum. Okay. Now here, what happens? At the same time, there will be one depression coming from the outside. It can be called as ectodermal cloaca, simply called as anal pit. Okay. So because of this anal pit, the anal membrane is pushed to the slightly upper portion. So this rectum and anal canal, if I want to tell you, the rectum and anal canal develop from the posterior part of the endodermal cloaca. This part of the endodermal cloaca, which is now called as primitive rectum. This is applicable up to this line called as pectinate line. This line represents the attachment of this membrane, anal membrane. So beyond the pectinate line, mean inferior to the pectinate line, it is developed from ectoderm. You can see here. See, anal pit. It's from ectoderm, right? It is called ectodermal cloaca also, but you remember anal pit. So below this level, below the level of pectinate line, where the hair follicles are there in the lower part of the anal canal, is developed from ectoderm. It's also called anal pit. You can see in the upper part of the video. Anal pit. So rectum anal canal, above the pectinate line is developed from endoderm. Below the pectinate line is developed from ectoderm. That part of the endoderm above the pectinate line will be called as endodermal cloaca. Below the pectinate line it's called ectodermal cloaca, simply called as anal pit. The urogenital sinus will give rise to the majority of the urinary bladder and the urethra. Okay. The urogenital sinus, for completion purpose I'm just telling, it will give rise to urinary bladder and urethra. So that is a summary of the development of the rectum and anal canal. Okay. So coming to the congenital anomaly. There are two types of congenital anomaly possible here. One is imperforate anus. So what is this imperforate anus? The child, soon after it's born, it will pass its first stool. It's called as meconium. But occasionally, if this junction between this endoderm and ectoderm, that is called by anal membrane, that is covered by anal membrane, it has to rupture naturally. But if it doesn't rupture, if the anal membrane persists, so that time the anal canal won't be canal, it will be blocked. That's called as imperforate anus. Aseptic precaution has to be taken by the doctor, and they have to make an incision on the anal membrane to clear the canal, the contents of the canal, which is meconium or the first stool. Okay. Next, coming to the rectovesical fistula. So a rectum anal canal has to end like this. Urinary bladder and urethra has to end. There should not be any connection like this. So normally in embryology, I told you already, I'll repeat one more time. The urogenital sinus and the primitive rectum, at the formation of the urorectal septum, initially there is a connection like that. It's called the cloacal duct. Subsequently, once the urorectal septum is completely formed, the cloacal duct disappears. But here what has happened? The urorectal septum has not completely formed. Therefore, the cloacal duct is persisted to give rise to a fistula between rectum and urinary bladder. Therefore, it's called like that, rectovesical fistula. Rarely, this connection can also be between rectum and urethra. It's called rectourethral fistula. So that is also possible. Fistula is abnormal connecting tract between two tubular structures or a tubular structure with the exterior. So these are the two congenital anomalies, imperforate anus and rectovesical or rectourethral fistula. In female, it can be rectovaginal fistula because the vagina and the uterus interferes or comes in between the developing urinary bladder and rectum anal canal. So in female sex, it can be rectouterine or rectovaginal fistula. So that is about congenital anomaly. In summary, development of rectum and anal canal is mainly from the endodermal cloaca, that is above the pectinate line. The rectum and anal canal is from the endodermal cloaca. Below the pectinate line, it's from ectodermal cloaca, or you can call it as anal pit. So this is ectoderm. Okay. So kindly subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done, and don't forget to press the thumbs up button. And thank you for learning from Logic Medico.